here. Using a Sharpie, I tried to use a couple different kind of markers. It's very difficult to get the markers to show up on this. Again, it's actually showing up better on this camera than it is in reality, but you might want to try one of those metallic Sharpies. I can't find one, but regular Sharpie, kind of difficult to see. I have a couple different cutting utensils here that I'm going to try. I've got multi-directional tin snips. I've got straight shear tin snips. I've got a Craftsman utility blade cutter. It's called AccuCut, and it's sort of a Cobalt knockoff of that. I'm going to try these, see which one works best, and I'll let you guys know. I'm also going to try scissors, and I have a utility knife, but since I'm down on the carpet and I don't really want to do this outside, I'm going to try it without a utility knife first. If I have to use a utility knife, I'll probably get a piece of plywood or something and stick underneath this and try it that way. I'm going to try all these different devices to cut this. The straight utility shear, the straight tin snips I think they're called, work beautifully, cuts it like butter, so I'm just going to go ahead and use these. Alright, so I've got the first one cut out. That really took about maybe even just a minute. I ended up using the, I don't remember, I think they're left, right, straight snips for this part right here, because the nippers, for lack of a better term, are shorter, and they have this ability to sort of make turns. Work pretty well there. This works great on the straight. So again, about a minute to cut out the biggest piece, so pretty easy to work with. Alright, so I've got all those done. In total, that maybe took, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes tops. The trickiest part to cut out actually was that piece that was extra thick. You can see some of those radiuses are kind of hard to get to with that cutter. I probably should have just approached it from the other angle and it would have been fine, but yeah, so it wasn't too hard. I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut 2 pieces for this. If Yamaha thinks that that's the piece that blocks the most noise, what I'm going to try to do is basically sandwich the, so this is going to go underneath against the fiberglass. I'll put the foam on top of that, and then I'm going to put another piece of this on top of the foam. If you read Acoustiblok, they talk about how decoupling the material from the whatever you're trying to do the sound blocking with actually helps a lot, so I think I'm going to try that. Alright, so it turns out you can get all the cuts for, I mean, probably most people already figured this out, but you can get all the cuts for the lid out of one piece. So basically I just cut that out of the full sheet there and then outlined the piece that I need to basically tack on there. Again, I'm going to go a little bit longer than my outline so that I can overlap it a bit. Alright, so all the pieces are cut out. Again, this long thin piece here, I had to cut a little extra to make it fit, but that was all from one sheet. Does not look like there's enough material for me to cut this front facing piece. Again, that's where the fire port is. It does not look like there's enough for me to cut 2 pieces with this. But I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 pieces with this. I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to try to make a couple trips. One with just the undersheeting and then the egg crate foam put back on, and then I guess I'll try to hold off from putting the second piece where the fire port is. I'm not making any promises. I don't have a lot of free time to do this stuff, so I may just do it all in one fell swoop. It kind of depends on how far I get today. But so far in total, I don't know, maybe this has taken me 20 minutes tops to cut this stuff out and lay it out. 20 minutes to take the egg crate off, and then, you know, so maybe 40 minutes total so far. Again, I cut these out. I'm a believer that basically any place where you have openings or holes or areas where sound can travel, it's going to take the path of least resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these, like the behind of these, with that Acoustiblok, and hopefully that makes it less of an easy place for sound to get out of. And then I'll show you guys in the boat when I take some video there. There are some gaps and openings on the plywood that are the engine, like the engine firewalls on the side, for lack of bulkheads maybe on the sides. And I've taken some pipe insulation, the rubber pipe insulation that people have been using to seal the hatches, which I also did. I'll show you that in the video as well. And I'm putting that around the edges to help seal that up. But basically the premise, or the idea that I have for this Acoustiblok material, is I'm not going to cover every single piece of, you know, material inside the engine compartment, but I'm going to try to basically make a block from where the shower head is, or the shower tank is, and where my batteries are, and I'm going to try to block those off with a wall of Acoustiblok, going up into the gunnel, down along the side of that fire, you know, the angled piece of plywood where the engine cooling hoses go on the one side, and then the fuel filler tank goes on the other side. I'm going to try to basically block that off with this Acoustiblok, so I don't have to do everything. And you know, it's the 80 for the 20 rule. We'll see, you know, what this gets us, but that's kind of my plan at this point.